Our intrepid party survived Area A, managed to find the first few sigils, and is descending to Area B, which is chock full of more puzzles, traps, and other weird goings-on. Today we continue to vivisect this wonderful, terrible book in the same way that it does to any adventurers who would attempt to brave it. Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today for part 2 of building my favorite D&D product of all time, the Labyrinth of Madness. I don't have much preamble today. If you haven't seen part 1, I recommend you go watch it. Some things may not make sense if you didn't. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, hype, and buy Neon Skies. Alright, let's get right to it. Today we are building level B of the dungeon. Room B1, Altered States. It's a long descent down the stairs from the giant serpent head in room A1, and this chamber is strangely empty, no horrifying imagery or anything. There are archways to the north and east, the only other exits from the room. However, there is a white sphere of energy floating in exactly the center of the room. It seems cold, even from the stairs, as if it somehow draws energy from where you stand. This thing is an artifact, and it was once used by the Dirus, in particular Imraven, to control the minds of others, but the Lifebane has corrupted it. And put simply, upon entering the room, a random character's consciousness is traded with another random character. There's saving throws and stuff, but that's what happens. There's a bunch of paragraphs explaining what transfers are not. Intelligence and wisdom transfer over. Strength and dexterity and hit points do not. 3 rounds later, 2 more characters are affected, randomly. And this keeps happening every 3rd round while the characters are on this level. So any of the rooms that we're about to cover. The artifact is totally impervious. The only way to reverse the effects is to wait until the artifact switches a mind to its rightful body again, then escape the level quickly. I can see how this as a design idea would lead to a lot of fun. You're about to see there's a lot more creatures other than the characters on this level, so having your mind switched into the body of a monster was fun and devious. But every 3rd round, ugh. My gut reaction is that kind of steps over the line from devious to annoying, but it does only affect 2 creatures at any given time. It's not like the whole party has to shuffle character sheets and all that. Still, high-level characters are going to have multi-page character sheets. And having to merge and swap around stats and all that stuff, ugh, nightmare. There is a secret door to room B2, but once found, it can still only be opened by pulling a hidden lever on a statue in room B4. But beyond the secret door is room B2, Secret Chapel. The floor of this room is 5 feet below the level of the last room. There used to be wooden stairs going down, but they're all busted up. Along the far wall is a stone table covered with an embroidered red and purple cloth, and a silver basin full of blood sits on it. Above the table is a fresco painting of a group of people literally tearing their own and each other's flesh from their faces. This is just a light bit of Photoshop. I got the actual illustration from the booklet, rendered some difference clouds, painted a mask where the hair would be, and with a few smart color selects was able to press it all together, printed to sticker paper, and mounted to an oversized clip-on. The basin is a plain old 25mm circular miniature base, upside down and filled in with Army Painter Slaughter Red. I just left it overnight to dry. The basin on the table is magical. It preserves whatever liquid is placed within it forever. Currently, it contains human blood. Anyone who touches it must save or become cursed. They immediately begin to wither, losing a hit point per round. From the entrance, around the corner to the right, there's an alcove, and in that alcove, there is a silver shrine. It's in the shape of a large snake wrapped around a coffer, with a symbol strange rune carved in its top. Around the rune are 9 black candles in candlestick holders, also silver, worth 20 gold each. This shrine is magical. It absorbs negative energy and stores it within the coffer. It was originally intended by the Dirus to be used in the creation of evil magical items and gateways to the lower planes. Because negative energy is drawn to it, the Lifebane has no power within the alcove. Nevertheless, the area is dangerous. If the party is foolish enough to open the coffer, all of the negative energy stored is released. Everyone has to save or else become corrupted, with their alignment changing to chaotic evil. A bunch of other stuff happens too. All magic items except potions and scrolls can become intelligent and of chaotic evil alignment, and they develop goals for themselves and will only function to further those goals. Good aligned priests and paladins lose all their prepared spells. Some characters can fall unconscious. But the bigger deal, more widespread, is that any evil beings in all of areas A, B, or C are healed 3d6 hit points if they were wounded. They also regain any spells they used. They also learn the location of any good aligned beings, like the party, within areas A, B, or C at that precise moment. Also, the blood in the basin across the room is affected in a horrible way. It becomes an animate creature rising up from the basin and gaining mass until it is the size and strength of a water elemental. Hidden on the underside of the silver shrine is the following inscription, and this becomes relevant in the next room that we'll review. Blue opens the unenterable room, red finds its way past the tyrant of eyes, iron seeks a chest in terrible gloom, emerald calls forth a beast of great size. I like the flavor of this room. I've always wondered why it's set 5 feet lower. Seems a random little detail of no consequence, but it's probably just meant to instill a bit of paranoia. And I get a chuckle out of this sentence. Characters must make the short jump down to get into the chapel. Yes, these 20th level adventurers will have to hop down 5 feet. But there's a good amount going on in this room. Not too much, not too little. Significant flavorful traps. And the imagery is just right. Moving through the archway in room B1 to room B3, Keys of the Golems. This room is bleakly empty aside from a few bits of wood in the far corner, and 5 flesh golems guarding the room. They attack as soon as the party enters. Or if the party was out in room B1 for more than 4 rounds, they automatically came out and started to attack. And that is a fun moment. That's a fun way to expand the effect. They walk down the stairs, 2 of their minds are switched, they're like, oh, that's just crazy. But then a few Frankenstein monsters enter the room from the north, and it happens again into one of them. That's devious. Those who have Sigil 5 can see at the far end of the room there's a long table with a key rack hanging on the wall above it. On the rack there are 12 keys, all different in size, color, and appearance. From left to right, the keys are Bronze Key. This is a trap and of no use anywhere. It just does 10d4 points of cold damage due to a glyph of warding. Blue Key, a small key of blue tinted iron which opens the door to room C2. A key of reddish crystal which opens the secret door in room F2. A Bone Key, or the Necromantic Key. Once per week, it can be used to create double-strengthed undead when using an Animate Dead spell. The Green Key, painted green, inscribed with some red lettering. The writing states, "The Third Portal." It activates the teleporter between rooms D9 and E1. A silver key, finely engraved, worth 75 gold, but also cursed. Anyone carrying it suffers a -2 penalty on all die rolls. This key also opens the door to room D6A. Glass Key, totally clear, opens the magical lock in room G15. A rusty iron key, which opens the chest in room G12. A gold key, which no longer has any use within the labyrinth. Maybe once it did. Now it's just worth 10 gold. An old yellow key, pitted and flaking. This key reactivates the flesh golems in this room. If it's brought within 10 feet of a destroyed golem, it reanimates and attacks. Double key. Self-explanatory. One end opens the locked door in room G13. The other activates a special magical trap when placed in that same lock. The trap itself is a disintegrate spell cast upon the user. No word on how to determine which is the correct end. And an emerald key. This actually appears to be a thin rod carefully cut from a huge emerald. It can be inserted into the wall in room E1C to produce the effects detailed there. Also, for those with Sigil 20, yes, those who have gotten 20 and backtracked all the way to this room, there is a 13th key. It is black in color, made of the purest ebony, and this opens the door to the tomb of Imravin. What I find especially cruel about this is, it's a sigil within a sigil. The characters don't know that a thing is not there if they don't have the right sigil. It's simply not there. So by finding this table and key rack with Sigil 5, to think that there's another thing on the key rack from another sigil seems unlikely to me, at least without some skill check or DM hinting. And getting Sigil 20 several levels of the dungeon later and thinking to backtrack all the way to this room, that's rough. When I said in the last video about this being a little bit unfair sometimes, this is the kind of stuff I was talking about. There is a length of hallway connecting room B1 to rooms B4 and 5. Room B4, Statues of Summoning. In this square room are 6 statues of snake-headed humans around the perimeter, and on the far wall is an archway with a small stone gargoyle looming over its keystone. However, it has coiling, hissing snakes rather than arms. And there's a curtain hiding whatever lies beyond the archway. Wait a minute. What color is the curtain? Doesn't say what color it is. How am I supposed to reproduce this faithfully? I mean, colors are mentioned elsewhere. In the secret chapel, there was the purples and the reds and the silvers all over the place. The image is black and white. What am I supposed to do? Maybe it's in the errata? Actually, Monty Cook himself commented on the first video in this series. Maybe I could reach out to him and ask him what color that curtain was supposed to be in the module that he wrote 30 years ago. Maybe it's red. Yeah, so I painted it red, actually tapestry wine, and I mounted it in the archway with some little lengths of paperclip. The gargoyle is some leftover 40K bits from unfinished miniatures. The head of an orc and a couple of these little tyrannid slivers approximate the look pretty good. Here's a side-by-side. I don't know. Came out okay. The right arm of one of the statues can pull down like a lever, causing the secret door from room B1 to B2 to pivot open. Raising the arm causes it to close. These statues are all magically trapped. Touching any of them without first stating the name Vithalus aloud activates a special monster summoning spell that summons 2 monsters in room B4A. So through the curtain is a large, totally empty room. All it does is receive these summoned monsters and provide a bit of combat space. The ones that could appear are an Umber Hulk, a Nightmare, a Roper, a Zorn, a Basilisk, or an Etin. Each of the 6 statues will only activate the summoning spell once per 24 hours. And again, since this is within the Mind Switching artifact's domain, one of the creatures is automatically affected by the Mind Switch. There's several paragraphs of guidance about handling the mechanics, pointing out that the Etin in particular is interesting because it has 2 minds, technically. A character in the Zorn's body can flow through stone, the Nightmare can become ethereal, etc. For those who have Sigil 3, hanging from the ceiling on a golden chain is a large octagonal stone. Inscribed on that stone is the 4th sigil. But the stone is surrounded by a 1-foot diameter sphere of force. Touching it causes a section of the floor to move out of phase, basically creating an 80-foot deep pit, which recloses after 1 round. To get Sigil 4, the sphere of force must be destroyed by a disintegrate spell or similar. Room B5, Living Weapons. As the door opens, a horrible stench rolls in from the chamber beyond. Inside, there are the corpses of 6 dark elves surrounded by weapons, coated in blackened, dried blood. They obviously died in battle, apparently with each other. There's also a large iron cabinet against the far wall. It's constructed of ornamental iron rods woven together almost like a basket is woven with straw. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the crafting, and I mostly won't, unless there's something new, and that's what we have here. These are floral, posing, armature wire. They're a little thicker than paper clips, but just as strong and bendy. So I glued together a hunk of corrugated cardboard as a, center, and then began wrapping lengths of this wire all around it, fixing the ends in place with super glue. This was tedious. This was not fun. I am never doing anything like this again. I must have been here for 2 hours, used half a bottle of superglue. My fingertips are completely subsumed in superglue calluses. Hopefully this is what was intended. Woven ornamental iron rods into a cabinet. So, 1 round after entering, 10 magic mouth spells hidden around the room begin to scream, and all melee weapons brought in by the characters magically animate and attack. They fight for 10 rounds and then drop to the ground. There's no way to fight back against them. Only a Dispel Magic spell causes the weapons to drop before the 10 rounds are up. The 6 corpses have a ton of treasure and magic items on them, and each of these individuals has the first 3 sigils on their right forearms. The metal cabinet is locked, but inside of it, on the back wall, can be found the 6th sigil. But there's more. Behind this cabinet, anyone with sigil 9 performing a search could find a secret compartment in the wall. This compartment in the wall behind the cabinet contains a small steel box that's double locked and trapped with poison gas. Inside is a silk insert with room for 20 rings, only 2 of which are occupied with green serpent rings. So, which room was your favorite today from Area B? Feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time. I am Wylock. Make things and play games.